Welcome back to Simple Truth. We are looking at the story of David. We're picking out some things from his story, from his life. We went through all of chapter 17, talked about David and Goliath, all the things there. Now we're talking in chapter 18, right? And we talked about Jonathan and David, the start of their relationship, and the fact that Saul, right, brings David in to the palace, brings him in to really learn how to be a king. And unbeknownst to Saul, he's going to be preparing his replacement. Man, that is a tough concept, right? Verse 3 in chapter 18 of 1 Samuel says, "Then Jonathan made a covenant with David because he loved him as his own soul." Right? Man, so God purposed this to be real, right? But not just to be real, to be lasting, long-lasting. Jonathan makes a covenant with David. Jonathan stripped himself of the robe that was on him, gave it to David, his armor, and even his sword, and his bow, and his belt. And David went out and successful wherever Saul sent him, so that Saul sent him over the men of war. And this was good in the sight of all the people, also in the sight of Saul's servants. You see, God is working here. God is giving David favor. You know how ironic this whole scene is? Because the scene before, in David and Goliath, Saul tries to give David his armor and his sword, right? Saul tries to give David all that stuff, and David says, I can't go fight with this. I can't do this way. But when Jonathan gives him all of his stuff, his armor, his sword, David takes it, goes out, and wins. Listen, who you take stuff from, we talk about it all the time. Who you allow to lay hands on you matters. The information you get, the training you get, the teaching you get, the mentorship you get, who it's from, it matters. It matters greatly. Right? If you get it from the wrong person, it's not going to work. The teaching isn't going to work for what God has. You ever listen to somebody and you really like them and you really respect them, but what they're saying, you just can't go with it. You just can't understand it. You can't get into what they're doing. But then you meet this other person and all of a sudden you guys just click and you connect, and all of a sudden you want to work with them. You want to be where they are. You want to be with them all the time. Right? It's their armor fits you. You could feel like you can go out and you can fight battles and you can win things and you can do things and you're better with them. Those are the covenants. Sometimes we make covenants with people we shouldn't be. Man, be careful who you're declaring best friendship over. Be careful who you're declaring even friendship with. Right? Those words, they matter to God. God used those words. Abraham's a friend of God. Right? Jesus, you are now my friends. He's making declarations, not over all 5,000 men that he fed, over 12, right? Over 72, whatever it was, Jesus declares over it. Make sure that you're being careful. What are you declaring? Who are you making a covenant? Because like David now is going to go out. He's going to fight some battles. God's lifting him up. Notice what happens when you go under, right, the call of God. When you go out with God's strength, with God's authority, with God's power, you start winning battles. And look what happens. The people, you win favor with people, right? Now again, that's not all people, just for the record, right? We know that when David finally does get to be king, it took a while for him to win everybody over, right? So this isn't everybody loved David. No, this is the right people loved David. And he started winning battles. You want to start winning battles in your life, maybe you should start looking at who you've made a covenant with. Who are you hanging out with? Who are you doing life with? Are you doing life with people that just aren't fitting in what God has for you? Are you doing life with people that God has purpose to put in your life, and you're watching God do amazing things? So, my challenge to you this day, this simple truth, pay attention to who you're making a covenant with so that you can start winning the battles that God has for you. You can start leading the people around you. Hey, we'll see you next time. Simple truth.